Social media wants your full attention, but not simply because they want to sell you some terrible product. In fact, they want to leave your mind so noisy and so distracted that your focus is completely turned from the Lord Himself. Allow me to explain why. So if you took a look at our world today, one of the biggest things you'll notice is that it's incredibly loud. Everywhere you look, there's just noise. People being angry, people being happy, sad. Everywhere you go, you see advertisements for silly products. You see people getting angry over stupid things. And social media takes all that insanity and turns it up to 100. Because every time you go onto social media, you're getting bombarded with memes, drama, commentary, education, thirst traps, you name it. And all those thoughts are left bouncing around in your mind with nowhere to go, leaving you constantly distracted and anxious from what's going on. But what's the point of all this? Why would the world be so dead set on keeping us so distracted all the time? Well, I believe that's because the world wants us so distracted and our minds to be so noisy that the Lord our God can't get a word in, that we cannot hear what He has to say. But what could that possibly mean? In the book of Kings, chapter 19, it tells the story of how Elijah met up with God saying, I'm retiring. Israel's gone crazy. I can't help them. And so, he goes up to Mount Sinai to talk with the Lord. And before he speaks with them, all sorts of calamities occur in the area. Great wind batters the mountain, lightning comes down from the sky, earthquakes shatter the land, and everything around bursts into flames. But God isn't in any of it. And eventually it all subsides, and then in that moment of silence, God asks Elijah what he's doing there. God didn't show up in any of the madness. He came in the silence, where there would be nothing but him and Elijah. That puts all this madness into perspective, doesn't it? If God teaches us best when it's quiet, then it would be in the best interest of the world to keep our minds as loud and distracted as possible. You see, the devil understands that in the end he's gonna lose. No matter how prideful he has to understand that in the end God is going to have the ultimate victory. So I believe that his goal is to cause as many humans as possible to ignore the way of God, so that in the end they may all join him in the lake of fire. As a final big middle finger to God, saying, I took all of your people. That's why he's so dedicated to distracting our minds from the ways of our Lord. So how do we talk with the Lord with all these distractions on our mind? Well, thankfully, He's provided some good instructions for us. In Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, as detailed in Matthew 6, He gives this instruction about prayer. In Matthew 6:6, but when you pray, go away by yourself and shut the door behind you and pray to your Father in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. So in order to pray to God, even in the midst of all these distractions, the solution is to take the distractions away and to put ourselves in a place where the distractions cannot reach us. So that way there is nothing between us and the Lord. Then when we're in that moment where there's nothing but us and the Lord, then we can let out all of our cares, all of our anxieties, all of our concerns of this world, and just let them melt away like butter in the warm presence of our Lord. Then you might ask, well, what if I can't feel His presence? Trusting in the Lord isn't about feeling. It's about knowing and trusting. If you know He's there and you trust that He's there, then He will be there to talk with you. And He will be there to listen to all your cares, all your concerns, and all your praises. If you need a little more motivation, just recall that every time you pray like that, it's like a punch to the nut to the devil and his friends. Well, thanks so much for watching this video, everybody. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one.